There's a belief that our bodies are naturally supposed to use carbs or glycogen for energy. But if that's the case, why can our bodies hold 77,000 calories of fats and only 1,600 calories of carbs or glycogen? Now remember, our bodies have evolved to adapt in order to survive. That's why you're able to tan. What's really happening is your skin's getting darker so that next time the sun won't damage it as much. That's also why you're able to put on muscle. What you're really doing is breaking down your muscle fibers, and then they're going to grow and adapt from the stress so that next time they can handle the stress that you're applying. And that's also why if you got sandpaper and rubbed it on your hand, you would start bleeding. But in a few days, your skin would come back tougher and stronger in the form of a callus. So if carbs or glycogen were meant to be our main source of fuel, why can our bodies only hold 1,600 calories of them? Wouldn't that limit our energy and our chances of survival? And to further the point, why are there essential fatty acids and essential amino acids, but no essential glycogen? And to further the point, the vast majority of people that eat carbs consistently, well, guess what? They have brain fog, low energy, and constantly crash throughout their entire day, to the point where they get grumpy and angry until they slam down more carbs. Again, do you think that would help our chances of surviving? No, of course not. It's all of these reasons that lead me to believe that fats are our main source of fuel. And the thing is, my life completely transformed when I became fat adapted and my body started using fats for energy. You see, when I was in college, I had a roommate and he was like, hey, my dad's gonna be on Joe Rogan's podcast today. And I was like, what do you mean your dad's gonna be on Joe Rogan's podcast? Like, if your dad's on there, he's a big deal. And he's like, yeah, you should check out the podcast episode. I was like, all right, cool, I'm intrigued. Like, I didn't even know what your dad was doing. But anyways, started listening to it. And he was talking about how all these problems that he had that people associated with aging vanished once he eliminated carbs from his diet and became fat adapted. He talked about this more consistent and potent energy, being able to think more clearly, being a fun-loving attitude more easy. And he said, you know what, just give it 21 days and I promise your life will transform. And so I was like, you know what, all that sounds really cool. I'm gonna give it a go. And I did it, and after 21 days, it was insane. In fact, I remember I went to the gym one time and I was lifting, and all of a sudden I couldn't even curl like 20s, which is super light for me. And I was like, what the heck's going on here? But then I realized I had been in the gym for 75 minutes when I used to only be able to go for 45 minutes before I would be too exhausted. Thus, I was able to push myself so much harder to the point where my muscles couldn't handle that little weight. But the thing is, I still had so much energy that after I hit the gym, I went for a 2-mile run. Now, besides having this more consistent, potent energy, I found myself just being nicer to other people. When I would go to the grocery store, I'd ask the clerk how her day was because I literally just felt so good and I just was spreading this positivity. And it really dawned on me in this moment. How you feel is all relative. Because I used to think I felt good, but how do you know you don't feel good if you've never felt good? It's all relative and you have to be able to compare it. Now, here's the reason why I continued to do this after the 21 days was because I was so much more productive. I'd wake up with laser focus, ready to go, motivated, and just start hammering out everything on my to-do list. By the end of the day, I was feeling on top of the world. I was like, holy shit, if every day was like that, I would just be unstoppable. Now fast forward 6 years, I'm running a business around my passion to help men become the most powerful versions of themselves so they conquer life. And I can say without a shred of doubt that me becoming fat adapted was one of the key indicators that helped me do it so quickly and to be able to help so many other people. So at this point, you're probably wondering, well, okay, Adam, how do I become fat adapted? So what I outlined earlier was essentially a 21-day transition period where you have to cut your carbs and sugar very extreme. Now, besides this, you want to eat or consume lots of fats and then moderate protein. Now, typically, I like saying follow more of a paleo diet. You don't have to go keto where it's super extreme and cutting into your quality of life, but commit to this for 21 days and it will transform your life. Now, I want to mention though that if you do give it a go for 21 days, you have to commit because sometimes people get what's called the low carb flu, where on day 3, 4, 5, they feel like they have the flu and they're like, oh, my body doesn't operate well on this high fat, low carb diet, I'm done. But it's just your body's transitioning. For your entire life, you've been using carbs or glycogen as your main source of fuel. And now your body needs this transition period. So if you aren't going to be able to commit for 21 days, I would suggest don't even start. But if you're serious about becoming the man you have the potential to be, you should definitely give this a go. Now, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to subscribe and toss this video a like, or heck, even comment and ask me some questions. I gotcha. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.